Seersucker Live. Thank you. We have an important question to ask everyone in the audience real quick. How many of you read a lot of books? I mean, like a lot. Like, raise your hands if you... You man back there with a wine glass. You with the blue shirt right there. Who else raised their hands? Oh, yeah, and you right back there. Anyone?
Who's got a huge to-be read pile? Yeah.
Would you like to come up? Everyone I'm pointing to, come on up to the stage, please.
Give him a hand. Yeah, you can bring your wine.
Don't worry, we're not going to hurt you. Oh yeah, definitely bring your wine if you have it. Yeah,
or your
that's what this show's all about.
Come on up. We'll make a row. We're not going to make you do anything goofy.
Yeah,
really.
This is
we'll do the goofy part. You guys just get to hang.
Oh, I think we got too many people left. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. What are you guys saying?
Oh, we got the last one standing.
All right, and we need our authors up here too, don't we? We didn't really go through this thing.
Well, we should start with this. Welcome to Seersucker Live. It's the Spring Fever episode. We are your co-hosts.
I'm Chris Baronato.
And I'm Megan Aguiloma. And these lovely volunteers are Trinity Tide, Carla, Tiffany Hull, Trinity, Carla, and
Tiffany?
Tiffany. Oh, good. All right. So the game is Tabook. It's like taboo, except about books, because this is a literary reading. So we do need our authors up here.
I thought so. Let's get our three authors
Give
on the stage. Laura, Kristen, Sam, please come up to the stage. You're being put on the spot already.
Yeah, right? Board members, can I get your help? Can you just put 3 chairs on stage for us, please? Yeah.
Oh, we got stools?
Oh, we got stools, forget it. All right, authors, you're going to have a seat. 1 per stool.
I got one more.
I mean, you can sit on each other's lap if you want, but it is Spring Fever. All right.
Authors, you're going to be facing the audience.
Perfect. All right, volunteers are each behind an author. Step around in front, introduce yourself to your author. You guys are going to be a team. You're going to be a team right here. Say hello. All right. So, here are the rules. The author, yeah, you guys can cheat if you're visual learners and you like to read while we're talking about this. All right, author, you have 30 seconds to guess the book. Your teammate from the audience is going to give you clues, and audience sitting out in front of the stage, you can help. All right, so
I need a lot of
you
help.
can help. You cannot say any words that are going to be listed on the slides as we bring them up. All right, and authors, no peeking. No peeking. All right. You are supposed to use words. You can't use gestures. We'll see. I think everybody can do this. I'm crossing my fingers because I reserve the right to revoke that rule if we get desperate. Okay? Any questions? How nervous are we on a scale of like 1 to 10?
Oh, like an 8.
Okay, we got 0 to 8. All right, let's give everybody a hand for just participating. Thank you. All right, audience members, you're allowed to look at the screen. And we're going to go just one at a time. All right, we're going to go in 2 rounds. And then we have a prize for the winner. Audience, I need you to keep me honest and like keep score with me, okay? Because it's really hard to do all these things at once.
Carla, you dropped the rose.
Oh, perfect. Oh yeah, definitely hang on to your flowers. All right, I think we're ready for the first slide, yes?
Let's do it.
All right, it's going to look like this.
Okay.
You'll never see it, author, sorry. I'll describe it to you. There will be a book title. There will be words that you cannot say, which will actually be pretty much any word on the board. It's going to tell you the title, the author, and then there's going to be some buzzwords, just like in Taboo. Like you're trying to describe Santa Claus and you can't say red, you can't say Christmas, you can't say reindeer. It's like that, except you're just trying to get your author to say the book title. Cool? All right, let's do it. Round 1 is about spring because this is the Spring Fever episode. We're going to start with Trinity and Sam. Round 1, go.
All right, so there's a girl and she likes to plant flowers and she's like an orphan, sadly.
The secret garden.
There you go.
it's very sad, and it's about kindness. There is a growing thing, and
Oh, the giving tree?
yeah.
All right, here you go. Here's a microphone for you. Tiffany.
Tiffany and Laura. Tiffany and Laura.
Okay, it's like the most famous local book there is.
That's good.
Midnight in the Garden.
I was really worried about this. I thought everyone's like, no, this
We've got more. Hit the next slide, Brendan. Round two.
Beaver.
Eva. All right, Trinity.
Oh my God.
They always make you read this in high school. It's there's people who like live in a room and they just like stare at TV all day, and then like this one person wants to do something else, and if they get in trouble for it, it's dystopian future.
It's banned.
Let's go to the audience.
There's a little girl that he hangs out with.
Not Celsius.
Oh, good, smart.
Not Celsius, but
What's the other temperature?
Fahrenheit 451.
Good work, team. Good work, team. Thank you, audience. Okay, Carla. Oh, you can't say any of them, can you? Nerds. Okay, so we're sort of diving into the core of things.
Not heaven.
Yes, not heaven. That's correct. And there's different ways to torture you. Yes! Good work.
okay. It takes place in I want to say like somewhere in South America, and people get a lot of people die, and people
Magical realism.
yes.
Not hate, not space, not Ebola.
I heard magical realism.
Yes.
Brendan, let's go back to our last slide for me. All right, so we've got a three-way tie. Everybody's a winner?
Well, we were going by the speed of answers, and I feel like they were the fastest.
Guys?
Absolutely.
Fastest
The
team?
speed on the Giving Tree was like phenomenal. So I think we have a winner right here. Do we agree on the winner?
All right, teams, take a bow.
Thank you so much for
Clap it up
participating
for
and being put on the spot. I'll get that for you, Laura.
Carla, you also...
Oh yeah,
got your Christmas
wait,
book.
Carla, we do have a prize for you.
You get a free copy of Kristen's book. Yeah. So one of us to the table will help you. Oh, well, she'll sign it for you. Whatever I think her mom will sign it. Okay, now we're ready for Sam.
All right, welcome everyone to Seersucker Live, for real this time. And I'd like to invite our first reader, Sam Rush, to the stage. Okay. Yes, that's a good idea. Okay, so hello, Sam. The first question we always like to ask our visiting authors is, who the hell are you?
So you gave me the second question to think about, but I actually didn't think about this one at all, so I really have no idea. I'm Sam. I hope I get to meet all of you at the same time at some point. I have lived in Savannah for 3 years. I write poetry. I also sometimes paint weird, blobbish paintings. And I have a cat who's named after my best friend. And I did that so that it would get confusing when they're both next to each other.
in your bio, you talk about how some hearing loss led to like kind of an epiphany of language. What was like the first word that really struck you as like, as poetry and something you can manipulate because of this?
Oh, okay, so one I think about, I don't know if it was the first one, but one that I think about a lot is mountain. I guess just because it feels like such a physical word. Like, I think a lot about how many times somebody had to walk up a mountain before someone was like, we should have a way to tell somebody about this. Yeah.
One last question for you. I have a lot of gaps in my reading when it comes to poetry. Could you recommend a good poetry book besides your own?
Sure. Okay. So
I gave you time to think about this.
You did. This is the one I thought about. And I couldn't pick just one. But some of the books that I keep going back to over and over that I was thinking about. Hanif Abdurraqib is an incredible author who's also a nonfiction author. He has a really incredible book that just came out about basketball. But he has this beautiful book called The Crown Ain't Worth Much that I would really recommend. And it's also, if you're not used to poetry, if poetry isn't something that you always feel comfortable reading, it's a really great one to get into. I'm going to do three, okay? One more, Tariq Luthun is a Palestinian-American poet who has this beautiful book called How the Water Holds Me that came out a couple years ago. And he's still writing and still speaking and doing some incredible work, and his book is just incredibly profound. And then another one that's really fun, I have a friend, Olivia Gatwood, who has a book about true crime and murder and feminism and weird stuff, and she's just funny and great and beautiful and weird and a girl in all the greatest ways.
Did everyone write these down? Anybody? Okay, well, check out the video later and you'll be able to find all these books.
I'll tell you the titles. Come see.
All right, well, everyone, I want to give a warm welcome for Sam Rush.
So I've got about 10 minutes. I can never decide anything, so I brought like 16 poems up here with me. But we're gonna see. I'm gonna start off with one. It's about bed bugs. So I hope you like bed bugs, I guess. The best way to treat bed bugs is to scream uncontrollably until you die. The best way is to drive fast enough to outrun them. They can't fly. If you run out of gas, just scream uncontrollably until you die. Let nothing touch the ground. The best way to treat bed bugs is diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth is made from diatoms, which are the leftover dead body parts of ancient sea creatures. They're spiky and dry, enough to latch onto the damn thing's backs and suck the moisture right out of their bitey bedbug souls. The best way to kill bed bugs is to surround them with death until they die. Best way to treat bed bugs is existential deism. Remember, we are all part of God's mouth, tooth, tongue, or asshole, and you are feeding the needed masses of the divine's body kingdom. Stop being so greedy with your blood. Best remember, when God is dead, bed bugs make atheists go crazy. If God is dead, then you are sleeping in a gnashing, biting graveyard. Let nothing touch the ground. The best way to treat bed bugs is probably tea tree oil. Tea tree oil comes from Melaleuca trees. In 3rd grade, I watched Melaleuca trees suck dry the Everglades outside my classroom window while my 38 classmates and I swished pink wax-tasting fluoride in our mouths. Finally silent, I could almost hear the slurping up of Melaleuca roots. Great grand blue herons choking thirst and dead falling from the sky. Melaleuca trees arrived on the backs of European colonists, looking for a stronger sucking tree to drain the swamp plaque and make way for their white stucco forts. And now, 200 years on, the Grass River is anemic dry mouth, and the trees are just living their own damn lives, never once realized that they smell something like killing. The best way to treat bed bugs is to douse yourself in tea tree oil 3 times a day. This is also the best way to treat scabies, and at least you don't have scabies. Every room you walk into will stink like minty, pungent, accidental, orchestrated destruction, or hippie mouthwash. See, the best way to kill bed bugs is to stink like survival of the fittest. Reproduction of the fittest. Growth of the strongest, fittest ones. Stop doing crunches on the floor. The best way to treat bed bugs is to grow the fuck up. Clean your room. Look at the piles of filth. Posturing unconvincingly as genius, flamboyant, asinine. Check the environment. Consider whether you have bed bugs or, based on empirical evidence, the bed bugs in fact have humans. Think of the many squares whose tight assholes you scoffed at as they designated clothes for bedwear only, and they washed and they refused to place face purses on the ground. Let nothing touch the ground. The ground is constructed entirely of tiny, sticky bed bug eggs. You can't see them because they are your future. And you can't see the future, stupid human. Human asshole. Stupid human asshole. Tie your hair back. Bag your clothes up. Floss, wear sunscreen, clench your asshole, buy a vacuum cleaner and a polo shirt, not used, but new, from a sweatshop and built on the backs of a blue heron nation. Meditate on God, or death, or blood, and levitate while you do. Let nothing touch the ground. Grow up. Get a real job. Clean your room. Remember, you are part of nature. And this is how nature changes itself. Thanks. Oh, this is so great. I love these things. Who invented these? No, really, who? Yeah, these are great. Thank you to the person who invented these. If anyone finds them, I would love to talk.
Bed bugs.
Also, I can't hear very well. If you come to talk to me after the show and I say some stuff that doesn't make sense, it might be because I can't hear. I might just be messing with you. Okay, this poem is it's called "The Spandrels of San Marco," and it's about death and God and I don't know. Here we go. All right. We got a little lead up. I'm going to teach you some things on the way there. So, 2 rounded archways built next to each other, like that, will lead between them an empty V-shaped space. And this space is called a spandrel. Though often ornamented with portraits of angels and depictions of God, the space is nonetheless an architectural afterthought. Evolutionary biologists borrow the term to describe a trait that has no functional value, but is the byproduct of selection for a useful adaptation. So your tailbone, your tailless tailbone, spandrel. Nipples that don't lactate, spandrel. Anthropologists suggest that our human tendency towards belief in the supernatural results from selection for a trait called agent detection. Our ability to assign motive to that which exists outside of ourselves. I'll explain. So like a rock can fall, and so can a lion. Think a rock is hunting you 1,000 times and you will live, but think a lion isn't once, and good luck. So we imagine a story that fills the empty space around a why. Anthropologists suggest that belief in God is nothing more than an evolutionary accident. Leftover space around a useful adaptation. Spandrel. Spandrel. Once a man held me in his arms like a question mark, and for the first time I wished there could be 2 objects with no space between them. Spandrel. My father taught me grief is like a hole inside of you. Mourning does not fill the hole, it is simply how we learn to live around it. Spandrel. When I was 15, God or something like it plucked a hole in me, and my hearing began to drip out slowly, leaving behind it an empty space. The space filled with a piercing ring that aches and wakes me in the night. Spandrel. I learned to love from story boys with waking boomboxes held above their heads and pillars of salt. The story goes, love is love when it turns its object's name into a seraphim, their voice into a prayer. Spandrel. Sometimes I hear voices in the ring. Sometimes I hear the voice of the man who held me like a question mark. Sometimes I hear the voice of God. Sometimes I cannot tell the difference. Spandrel. The thing about love and death is that they both turn humans into gods without asking. Spandrel. Sometimes I hear voices in the ringing. Sometimes I hear the creak of the rope he lost himself to in a quarry outside Cincinnati. I do not know the shape of it, but I imagine a gaping, empty space. Spandrel. I do not wish to make this man a god. I do not wish to erase the callous in his voice or the careless moments of greed. I do not wish to write him into my own mythology, to absolve an empty space. The spaces of the spandrels at San Marco are filled and blooming with delicate portraits of angels and pictures of God. Onlookers crane their necks to gaze upon them and upwards towards heaven and forget the ground. Spandrel, I do not wish to forget your eyes for heaven. The story goes, Spandrel, once I fell in love the way the story goes and forgot my own name. The story goes you will be loved into a hole. The story goes you are born with a hole inside of you, the shape of your lover's arm or ear or crooked neck. The story goes you will look upon your lover and see heaven in their eyes. Spandrel, I do not wish to forget your eyes for heaven. I do not wish for a love that cranes my neck upwards and away from this earth. Spandrel, I try to hold myself at night like a question mark, but cannot coax my body into arching because it is harder for me to imagine a story that ends in a trans body coming than it is for me to imagine a story that ends in a trans body coming back from the dead. Spandrel. I'm afraid to be loved like a symbol. I'm afraid to be loved like a myth, like a monolith, like a mystery. Spandrel, I'm afraid of a love that will turn me to false God only to prove me fallacy. Spandrel, there are voices in the ringing. In the silence, there is a song. And I know he's not waiting for me out there in the gaping air, but I swear to God, I hear something. Thanks, y'all. That's my last one. Thank you so much for having me, Seersucker. I just want to say one last thing. I'm a part of a group called Savannah for Palestine. If you'd like to get involved, please look us up. We'd love to have you. I really appreciate having the night with you. And take care, y'all.
Thank you so much, Sam. Check out the videos on Instagram, Staff for Palestine. All right. It is my pleasure to give out a local award. Oh, and you've got, does someone have the journal? A presentation, thank you. All right, so we have, at Seersucker have this thing called Good Literary Citizen. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And this is for somebody who is, sorry, my guy, I'm doing it, aren't I? I'm doing the feedback thing. Okay. Someone who is a person about town doing good stuff related to literature. And it is my pleasure to introduce Daria Clark. Daria, will you come up here while I read this amazing bio of yours? For those of you who don't know Daria, we just had the pleasure of meeting tonight. You can see right here, my friend, and grab that mic. You want me to read your whole intro? Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to tell you that Daria created a self-published journal which was very brave. Props. And it's dedicated to everyone who feels like not enough and too much at the same time. So thank you for writing that for me. I appreciate that. Good Girl is the name of the book, and it is one of many works under her brand Unblushing Media, a publishing company that specializes in zines and books and helps others release shame and unblush. And along with that title, Unblushing Media has published a series on mindfulness and meditation zines. And along with that, there is also, the zines are called Dear Diary. Yes, and you can find her online at Dear Diary Zine Collective, or at Unblushing Media, or at Babe in the Sun. Yeah. So Daria graduated from Syracuse in 2018 with a BS in magazine, South Asian Studies minor, and Fashion and Beauty Communications concentration. So good. All right. When she's not making zines and booklets, she's leading meditation classes, enjoying live music, and relaxing at home. I'm gonna let her read to you now and say hey for herself. Thanks so much.
Hello. Oh, let me make sure you're on. Yeah, hand it. Technology.
Hi, everybody.
I'm gonna give this to you at the end.
Okay.
How about that?
I'm short, but I'm not that short. Hi, hello. How's it going? I'm so nervous, even though I love to be on a stage. That's so funny. Okay, so I have something very short to share with you. It's an excerpt from an essay that I wrote for Good Girl. The essay is called Fire and Desire, and it talks about my journey with smoking and desire. So, here we go. Before Morgan, I smoked with Damon, the guy I gave my virginity to years after we shared our first cigarette together. He told me I had an addictive personality, which is one of the reasons we had to wait to have sex. #rude. Jokes on the both of us because the personality trait never really went away. He told me years later that the way to stop smoking cigarettes was to pause and taste the filth in your mouth as it ricocheted off of your cheeks and down your throat and into your lungs until it seeped through your pores. Maybe he tried to stop the habit because he felt responsible, but my smoking habit had little to do with him. The factual, real first time I smoked tobacco was at a classmate's Sweet 16 birthday sleepover. The year was 2010, and I was a sophomore in high school. Earlier in the night, pricky co-ed teens compared breast sizes, flipped snacks into each other's mouths, and swapped secrets while Pink's Raise Your Glass played in the background. When it got dark, we migrated to the garage. Someone suggested we play a hybrid game of spin the bottle in 7 minutes in heaven, except 7 minutes was too long, so we shortened the time to 1.5 minutes. Steven, a guy who kissed my cheek 9 times in Fernbanks Planetarium on a field trip in 4th grade, played wingman. He rigged the game so I could have my first real lip-to-lip smooch with my crush of the moment, Aaron Collins. I've been waiting for this for what I felt like eternity. My crush on Aaron began the first day I met him in the 4th grade. He looked like Prince Eric from The Little Mermaid, except smaller and a little less brooding. Outside of the garage, my eyes shifted between his eyes and our feet. He admitted he didn't know what he was doing. I smiled and said, I read in 17 that we're supposed to tilt our heads to the right, and you're supposed to kiss my top lip while I kiss your bottom lip. We leaned in and our faces touched for a quick second. We both giggled and I searched his face for feedback. Should we try again? He asked. After our second kiss, I expected him to profess his love for me, to take my hand and parade around the party announcing, Daria's my girlfriend now. But it was just a game, and after our time was up, we both went back to join the others. I had a feeling that's not how the first kisses were supposed to go. There were no fireworks or fanfare, no kick of the leg like Princess Diary said there would be. Looking back, it was sweet, but at the time I thought too much about what I didn't have, his heart. One by one, guys left to go home until only the girls were alone in the garage. Someone pulled out an unfamiliar glass bottle with a tequila label slapped on the front. We passed around the smelly liquor, taking sips and making faces as if we just watched someone vomit and vomited ourselves and felt another hurl coming up. Next came a cigar, and we put our lips to the stocky stick and inhaled like we knew what we were doing. The heat fixated on areas in my throat and cheeks I only felt when an onslaught of tears were on the horizon, the same areas that had been activated moments before. When we couldn't stand the taste anymore, we put our clothes in the dryer to get the smell of smoke out of the fabric. We then sat by the pool, lighting tissue on fire, eating Oreos and milk, and giggling as girls do. Like the tissue, I felt as if I was swaying in the air, ignited by fire, falling down slowly, shimmering red and yellow and orange, burning to a crisp and disappearing from existence. Thank you.
So I know you do a lot of hand-making things yourself. This is a handmade journal to you, made by Jessica Pope, who's right over there, of Fucking Focus. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your gifts with Savannah. Thanks, Daria. All right, so you might have noticed we've had a little bit of a show change. So Keith Miller, who wrote the YA novel Pretty, which is a nominee for the YA Lambda Literary Award, is unable to be with us tonight due to some unforeseen circumstances. He's okay. But his book is still for sale at the Book Ladies book table. So you can still read the book. I highly recommend it. And we're looking forward to having him on an upcoming show. Luckily for us, we have a deck stacked pretty deep with of authors and poets. So Laura Davenport will be reading. Laura is the author of Dear Vulcan on LSU Press and the chapbook Little Hates by Dancing Girl Press. She received an MFA in poetry from Virginia Commonwealth University and has taught creative writing and composition in various places. Her poems have appeared in Boulevard Magazine, Best New Poets 2009, Crab Orchard Review, Connotation Press, and she was included in the Southern Poets Anthology. She works at a university around town that shall not be named, but is well known for its arts and design curriculum. Laura, come on up.
Thank you.
Hi, Laura.
Hi.
Who the hell are you?
Well, you covered a lot of it. I'm Laura Davenport. Sometimes I go by other names, like Dombrowski. And I'm struggling to accept my Southern poet identity roots, but I'm coming to terms with it because the Southern stuff just keeps coming out. So I'm just gonna roll with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people in the audience may not know that you are also a novelist. Tell us what you learned in your research about Prohibition era.
Sure. Well, if you can consider a novelist, if it's just sitting in a drawer.
Yes. How many novelists do we have right here in this room?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did get to 70,000 words, so I
That's
consider
not
that's a
nothing.
draft, right? That's a draft. But it's marinating right now. Prohibition is actually really interesting. There's so much Savannah history, and of course we all know it's focused on Civil War, Revolutionary War, but I was like, there gotta be some Prohibition, shenanigans happening here. Now we have the Prohibition Museum. But the fascinating thing was actually, the more you talk to people and bring it up, so many people have personal stories, family histories, really interesting stuff.
Yeah. Like what?
Like somebody at a dinner party offered to show me his still. I don't know if that was a come on or a real There's a house in Gordonston that has a secret room under the stairs.
For booze?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
That was built then. And then out on the islands there were a lot of bars and restaurants that had hidden trap doors, and the boats would just come right under and just put the liquor straight up through the trap door. Yeah.
Cool.
So there's all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, and then this one is an easy one. What is a poem? Like if an
That's really
alien
easy.
landed and you had to explain, like, what is a poem?
Yeah, this one, okay. There is a commonly held definition of poetry, which is the best words in the best order, but I don't think that really covers it. I think what poets are trying to do is push the limits of language and what language can do, and I don't necessarily mean in an experimental way, but how close can I get to expressing my pure feelings straight to you without having to go through all this words and gestures and other stuff.
So shorter than 70,000.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's a great answer.
But a novel was harder, actually.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
it. All right, let's give her a hand. And
Okay, hi everybody. I also just want to say thanks to all the other readers for being here, participating in the game. I know we threw that one at you, Kristen. You didn't know that was going to happen. And I know we have some first timers here too, as well. Do we have any people so, thanks everybody. And also a shout out to the lovely board. You all are great individuals and talented and creative, and it's fun putting shows together with you, so thanks.
Laura, how about former readers as well out there?
Oh, how many former readers are here? Oh, good one, Brian. Oh, there we go, another back there. Danelle's here too, so I can't see all the way back there. Yeah, wonderful. So we hope you all come back. The book starts with this. There are a lot of poems about the South in here, but this one I thought was important to kind of go away from that a little bit. At the time, I was reading this poet, Fernando Pessoa, who is Portuguese, who's really well known for creating all these different personas, and I think he had close to 100. I'm looking at my English teacher friends over here. He wrote from all these different personas, and scholars are still trying to piece together and figure out, like, who was he trying to be? So of course I thought, what would it be like to date that person? So that's why I wrote this. And it's called The Lisbon Typist. Across the plaza, a woman bursts open, emerges from herself in a cloud of moths. Herself is not herself, not hers. Down the ruas, radiating down the damp back of the city, lamps are lit. Your lover wants to be another, different sort of man. He writes to you from other lives, doctor, sailor, theologian, how the sun sets over the Indian Ocean. You read his latest tract alone, fingers pulsing from the early cold. Walk home to the patterned swish of stockings, light pressure around your thighs. How can you lose the self when you have a body that burns? Tonight is the first frost, and in the morning he will come to you dressed as a poor farmer with a gift of white asparagus, or as a mechanic wiping his hands. He may come to you a priest or soldier, poems folded in a pocket, and you will study this stranger as he stands on the rug, bewildered by the newness of his body, as he asks you for a cup of coffee, a little bit of bread. So I wrote that, and then actually only like, this is great. Only a few years ago, I actually realized that I think that poem's about how some people can just slip into different identities and just be different people, and some of us are kind of feel stuck, always being what we are. So sometimes I surprise myself a little bit. This one is called, I wrote for a friend who was going through a really bad breakup, the kind where you feel like it's never going to get better, but then it does. just so you know, it does. And so this is called the Year of Small Boats. The motor churns up mud, the tide too low, the August air heavy with itself. And you ask if I'm afraid to spend the night with you in this John boat tied to the dock of a summer house. Off John's Island, the road ravels back to pine woods and plantation scars cut through the marsh, where we explore the roosts of pelicans and cranes, white smatterings where you find a small, hollow femur, the kind of omen you've sought all summer, squinting behind dark glasses as the dock lifts with a speedboat's passing, as though the waving grass and sunlight on the water pained you, as from the warped gangway that leads up to the house, I study the line where mud turns into grass. Because I love you, I ask straight out, is it my mouth, my body that could heal you? I'll lie down on this oyster bed where the water laps. You laugh. Say you wish instead to be marooned here forever. Open another beer. Not ready to forget her yet. You tell a joke. Don't listen to men who give advice. The cooler fills with empties, and I think of all the people who have given you empty offers. When you ask, will this feeling get worse? I want to believe this latest loss has made a man of you. And when you turn away to piss, I take in your brown shoulders and the curve of your calf. You've sworn to remember this as a year of sorrow, but I will see you balancing your small craft, giving the finger to the speedboats as their wakes rock us high against the dock. Remember, too, the wasp circling your green trunks, the way we jump into the mud, sink ankle deep. How brown and slick like clay, it stains my fingers as I spread it over my arms, my thighs, your chest, the pale edge of your collarbone. I used to write in really long sentences, and I'm glad that I don't do that anymore. Some of these are really long. Thank you. Water interlude. Because it is a spring fever theme, I thought I would read some spring poems. And these are all pretty new, and then there's going to be a universal world debut of a brand new poem. Okay, so this one, look at my papers here. This was called Love Poem as a Snake. Each day that year you left before the sun, like some cursed prince, drove to work in darkness. Long nights we never spoke, passing between us the damp weight of the baby, paced and rocked her until the next hour struck. The baby, too, as if under some spell, would doze in my arms until lowered to crib, lids half closed and searching, then jolt awake as if bitten, until the sun's first rays spun gold across the neighbor's azaleas. Then she sank into infant sleep like a small stone in a field, the little pearl mouth opened in an O on the crib sheet patterned with clouds. So out of place, that snake, winding along the porch, seeking warmth under the house. You called me out to see it. I checked its head, declared it neutral, showed you the rounded snout, and for a while we watched its scales pulse in the early light. Your aftershave, your pressed work shirt grazing my arm, the hard pink scar of the silence between us. I've tried to start this poem hundreds of times. I'm still afraid of the darkness that coiled inside me for months, seemed without end. How I writhed in silence, slipped your grasp, slick and cool to touch whenever you tried to try again. Late enough already for work, we studied it a while, side by side, called it a poem. How these gifts spring before us, winding up from wherever winter keeps them, to seek the warmth that is coming. I hope that's hope poem. This afternoon I thought, oh, these are all so positive and peppy, and now I'm up here reading them, and I'm like, this one is, maybe. Sometimes I write poems, I write a lot about, kernels from life, or, something that happened to me, or someone I know, but sometimes I write a poem purely just for myself. It's kind of a pep talk, and this is what I would consider that. It's called, I Have Found Joy Again, and So Will You. Begin in the mouth of birdsong, the cardinal's one incessant note. Begin with the garden's green work. Some flower early, some linger in the bud. Some creep, send tendrils. Some gather sap. Those with much to give, give again. Flower for your own sustenance. Propagate your future selves. Like the fig, the wasp that devils you, feeds you, and feeds from you. Begin there. That's peppy, right? Peppy music. I have some funny ones. They're coming, but not yet. Okay, this is the world universal debut. Because it's about spring. So I have a very big birthday coming up, and so I've been thinking a lot about my youth that's passing, and also what the hell was I thinking a lot of times. So that's what this one's about, and it's called Spring Flood. I was 20, caught by unexpected rain in an old house sliced into apartments, 14-foot ceilings and a leaking roof, where lived a boy I sometimes saw, you know the kind. He would get stoned, put on a record, and undress me slowly while I stayed in my own dream. Separate. That's how I liked it then. When I arrived that night, the sky was bruised, then a closed fist. The rain kept coming down. He lit more candles, flipped the record over. We shared a single takeout curry. He watched me fork warm rice into my mouth, and then we slept. The rain kept falling. In the morning, I went out into the flooded street, waded into the brown murk, the waist-high water, oblivious to snakes, submerged power lines. A stupid thing to do. I didn't worry. I was 20. I had been touched by God. Okay, so in the book, there's a series of poems called In the City Without Women. And in the book, they're spread out, but I'm going to read a couple together. Writing is hard work. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of labor. But you work hard, and you show up, and every now and then you get a gift, and something just comes easily. You get an easy day. And so these poems actually, this is one of the only ones that I remember just came out. So I'm grateful for that. So this is called In the City Without Women, and I'm going to read 3 of them. They all have the same title. So the boy says, someday I will see the ocean, and it will move me. He sits in a lane in the expanding dusk, his back against the wall of a house. The boy has learned words from a sailor's book, whitecap, trough. When you walk in the salty water, the cuts on your ankles will sting. The boy wants only to sit on a wall with his feet in the sand, to watch men cast lines into the waves and smell the wind. Really, the boy is afraid. He has heard about the tides, the way at night the sea draws forward as if of its own accord. This field is no good, which is why the horse has wandered. Two men slap dust from their boots. All day the boy leans against the fence, watching the men and the tiny purple flowers. He knows it isn't hard to catch a horse. At dusk, he lies flat in the field until his body is grass. All the sounds of night grow sharp, then soften. Now the horse does not know him. At dawn, the boy can feel warm breath in his ear, a wet mouth searching the flowers. The boy draws sails with a chip of stone. This is the ship he'll build one day. The street is empty after rain. No sign of the old dog the boy would like to catch. He'd brush its fur and bathe it in the river. Think hard enough about a thing, and it happens. The dog passed through this alley once, right where the boy is standing. The boy stretched out his arm and raked thick fur with his fingers. The smell stayed with him the whole day after, like crushed grass beside the river, like waking in wet clover. So that's little boy. Okay, I'm going to read this one that I want to dedicate to Jenny. What's her favorite one? It's called Quitting. Does anybody remember a drink called Zima? It's important to know. If you don't know, it was like a hard lemonade that we used to drink in the 90s and 2000s. It was very bad. Quitting. Every cigarette I smoked was sorrowful, and so I gave them up. I didn't inhale, had to lean against a porch rail with one floodlight behind me, and the yard below had to be dark. In the car, I was afraid the ash would set aflame the back seat. The fire would spread to the gas tank and the open bottles of Zima. And the shame of drinking Zima stays with me. Whenever I hear that song we played, which meant everything, as if our lives could be summed up, just like that, beautiful and full of longing. Could be charted, verse and chorus, like the staggered tarot lines we read the future in a few short weeks in summer. Had I known, I would not miss them, the boys whose faces I traced in sleep, and in the day could not raise my eyes to. I would have asked the cards something else. What will I say to my daughters of memory? That it is like the bright nail I picked up in the street, carried for a block and hid out of sight in the sewage drain, and this gutter is not the one I floated boats in, and the boats you will make from paper are not like mine at all. And there will be a woman or man someday you would like to forget existed. And you will be alone then, the last one riding in the car at night. It's easy. All you have to do. Don't listen to that song again. And once you are alone in the dark, you must not lean into it.
Thank you, Laura. So, as is tradition at Seersucker, we are blessed with a musician, multiple musicians in our midst. Actually, everybody pause for a second and give it up for Brian Dean on the keyboard. He plays this whole show by ear, pretty much. The other thing that we're blessed with is that my co-host, Chris Baronato, do you need this, Chris? All right. He writes a bespoke song for every show. And this show is no different. So, I'd like you to give a big welcome to Chris Baronato.
Oh, I don't know, is it? It's Chris and Brian's song.
Brian, mind accompanying me on this one? This song's about how much I like to crawl on all fours into my little nook, curl up with the pillows, crack open a Zima. I enjoy something with prestige, and you fulfill my deeper need. Sometimes I don't want something for all ages. I spread you open, stick my face in the crack of your pages, and find elves with no clothes on, vampires in the sun, baring their teeth, give me romance that bleeds. Roses are thorny, and books make me horny. I love the steamy breeze. I love the steamy breeze. I love the steamy breeze. Gaze at me from the shelf. I caress your spine and touch myself. Your dirty talk always brings me to my knees. I just might die if you're part of a series. Oh yeah. That has elves with no clothes on, vampires in the sun, they're in their teeth, give me romance that bleeds. Roses are thorny, and books make me horny. I love the steamy breeze. Worst sax solo ever. Elves with no clothes on, vampires in the sun. Everybody! Romance that bleeds. Roses are thorny, and books make me horny. I dig the steamy reeds. I dig the steamy reeds. I dig the steamy reeds. That's an old song. When I say old, I mean I finished it about 5 minutes before the show. You couldn't tell. I'm leaving now. See y'all later. No, I'm back. I wanted to invite our next guest up, Kristen Arnett. We are so blessed and excited to have her here with us tonight. Beer in hand.
Thank you. Beer in hand.
Hold up, is that how we're doing it? I'll be right back.
Yeah, please join me.
That is better. How come I don't do that every time?
Yeah.
Cheers, Kristen.
Cheers. And cheers to all of you.
So for those of you who don't know, Kristen here, she's Florida's finest writer. She's our featured writer. So she's a queer author with the novel With Teeth. And she's also a finalist for the Lambda Literary Award for fiction. She's also the author of Mostly Dead Things. I'm going to ask you a few questions about that too. God, this is a long bio. You've done so many cool things. You all can look her up later. Let me ask you first, because none of this is giving me a good picture. Who the hell are you?
This is a good question. My name is Kristen. I also go by Dad. I'm a gay. Thank you. That's the most important part. I'm a Floridian.
sign is that? Is it like an Aquarius? Or?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm actually a Sagittarius. So. Ooh, yeah, Sagittarius. Yeah, I make jokes when I get nervous. And I feel really excited to be here. All the readings are really good. Fuck all y'all. Go after everybody. And I love that song. It's really in theme with what I'm going to read. So.
Oh, terrific. Yeah. I was inspired by the idea of spring fever. Like, what does that convey? Birds and the bees, rejuvenation, getting horny for people. In this case, my wife. Sitting right there. Well, I want to ask you a couple more questions. First, I was curious. Mostly Dead Things is centered on taxidermy, and I was wondering, like, how is writing like taxidermy? Taxidermy. We all agree that's how you say it.
Yeah, maybe it's like most like taxidermy because you have this like clear idea in your head about how it's going to be. Like, here's how it's going to look and pose and be this certain kind of thing. And then you write a draft and it looks like that weird taxidermy that like people post pictures of where like the eyes are all crossed and its face is mangled. So maybe that's the way it's like writing.
Yeah, I have some pretty derpy looking crazy stories, just like that. I also want to ask, you have a novel coming out next year called Clown.
Yes.
Is there anything you can tell us about that book before you give us a taste of it?
It's got a clown in it.
So it's not a metaphor.
No, it's not. It really isn't at all. Yeah, that's the whole show.
I got nothing else. I wasted all my time writing that song, so I'm going to give you the stage.
Thank you.
Just an arm at everybody.
I feel like I'm about to do a tight five up here. I am going to read. Thank you so much to everybody that read already. This is so good. Thank you for having me. I feel really happy. I love Savannah. Always have such a nice time. All the people are always so cool and nice. There's my wife over there. Oh, we just got married in February. Isn't she beautiful? This book is coming out in March 18th. Is the pub date for this. Like, they sent me, it's good luck here in Savannah, they sent me my cover today, so I saw it while I was sitting at a bar. It looks great. Can't wait to show it to everybody. This is the opening to my novel. I will go ahead and tell you it is fairly explicit. Let's just get that out of the way. So I was like, oh, this
My
song
son
is...
is 13, he's totally ready.
Oh, great. Oh, Lord. And just one other thing, at one point, I am going to do a voice, and you will know it when you hear it. God help us all. You can tell a joke one of two ways. Open your mouth and say the damn thing. Wait for someone else to try and tell it for you. The second way is almost always funnier. People don't want to hear a punchline. They want to feel like they've beaten you to it. Pretend you're dumber than the audience, at least at first, and suddenly you've got them eating from the palm of your hand. The real gag waiting behind the scenes, tucked neatly inside the fake out. It's an actual diamond ring disguised as a gaudy cubic zirconia. I'm telling all this to the woman from the birthday party, but she's not listening. Her eyes have that faraway look, sleepy with desire, lips part to reveal a slip of tongue and a back tooth gone inky with rot. I've got her underwear pulled down and she's jiggling her legs, knees knocking together because I'm taking too long. Listen, I've been busy. For the past 2.5 hours, I've entertained her 6-year-old son, Danny, and his entire first grade class in their sprawling suburban Central Florida backyard. I've built zoo animals from stringy, multi-hued balloons and pulled never-ending scarves from the ends of my belt sleeves. The bulbous yellow daisy on my lapel has shot water at the woman's husband, soaking the neck of his expensive Ralph Lauren polo. I've spritzed seltzer at an elderly schnauzer who took my ridded pant leg between its tiny razor teeth and yanked until the hem unraveled. Come on, she says, voice breathy and impatient. Hurry. She kicks free of her underwear and almost knees my nose off in her rush to get naked. I reach up to right it, smearing a lick of grease paint on my gloved fingertips. I'll have to wash them with dish soap right when I get home or else they'll stain. I tell her this, but she doesn't care about that either. We've got 10 minutes, she says, which means we've got less time than that. I'll keep my clothes on because that's what she wants. The baggy polka-dotted blazer, the orange striped shirt and the gold bow tie and the purple spangled suspenders, my oversized parachute pants with their lines of glittery silver thread outlining the sperm-shaped squiggles of bright neon green. My shiny red shoes are long enough to simultaneously bang into the side of the toilet bowl and the bathroom cabinet as I wrench off her blouse, buttons plink onto the black and white tiled floor. She wraps her legs around my waist, feet bouncing against my back as I slip off a glove with my teeth so I can slide my fingers inside her. She looks away from my bare hand, not wanting to see anything that's not clown. She's paying for clown. Has wanted clown since she called the agency's number 2 months earlier to plan her son's birthday party. She stares hungrily at my painted face, the wide slick of paint that surrounds my mouth, the black and indigo triangles that shape my eyes, the iconic red foam nose that holds my overly hot breath inside its spongy interior. The wig I wear is powder blue. I can hear, yeah, this is getting some people. Curls springy and cute like a deranged Shirley Temple who just got back from Burning Man. Atop the wig sits a tiny rhinestone and suede cowboy hat I picked up one afternoon at a pet shop, now a staple of my clowning gear. I'm Bunko, a rodeo clown who's terrified of horses. Goes over great with the kids. Do you have a dick? I stop and look down at her, finding us suddenly off script. A dick. She licks her lips, pink lipstick feathering at the corners. Not a real dick. I know you're a female clown. I'm not dumb. I mean like a dick. A dick, I repeat, because our time together is nearing its inevitable conclusion and neither of us has gotten off. There's sudden shrieking inside the house, the bang of sneakers against the expensive maple floorboards, the groan of furniture as bodies ricochet against the walls. Soon her husband will do the thing that all husbands do when faced with a crew of screaming children. He will search for his missing wife. Also, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but could you use the clown voice? I mean, I'm paying for the experience, you know? Shifting back into Bunko is easy enough. I lift the corners of my lips and widen my eyes dramatically. Let's see what I've got up my sleeve, I say, high-pitched and giggly. The tone I've worked perfect since I took up clowning 8 years earlier. I bet Bunko's got something just for you. Yes, we all had to deal with that. I've got nothing like that in my clowning kit. All my dildos are at home, squirreled away inside my nightstand. But if I've learned anything from clowning, there's always a way to turn zero into something. I've entertained a crowd of people with nothing but a wooden spoon and a cast iron pan as accompaniment, drumming the theme from the Brady Bunch on my head while simultaneously dancing a jig. I've landed a somersault on a slip and slide while juggling 3 Coke cans and somehow managed not to break my neck. If I can't MacGyver myself a dick out of thin air, then I need to find a new profession. Clowning is like that, I think, an excuse to make everyday life wildly, luxuriously absurd. I create a drum roll sound effect with my tongue, wriggling my fingers expectantly before delving inside the interior pocket of my coat. I rummage in there for a moment, allowing the expectation to build, and then suddenly produce a magic wand. Her eyes widen. It's collapsible. I used it earlier at the party, tapping the brim of my undersized cowboy hat to summon a rubber snake, exclaiming in alarm when the wand broke into pieces and the reptile suddenly escaped. It gets a laugh every time, that stupid wand, and I hold it out in front of me now like I might create some real magic. As she tentatively takes the wand in her hands, I let it collapse. The woman screams with joy, legs spreading as I command the wand erect again. It's not nearly as wide as a dildo, but it's not the size of the wand that matters. It's the motion of the potion that counts, and the woman is thrilled with what I've produced. I prod it inside her as she stares up at my makeup-caked face, hands knotted in the sides of my bright blue wig, grunts spilling from between her closed lips as I hurry, hurry, hurry. She cranes upward and presses her face to mine, tongue slipping inside my mouth as she orgasms. I wrench backward and push her away, sure my makeup is ruined, and it must be, because some of it now coats the right side of her face in a Picasso-style swirl. Sudden banging on the bathroom door. The wand has collapsed again, slithering out of her body. Pause, please. Thanks, what a moment. I shove it back in my pocket as she yanks her underwear on, blonde hair mussed and frizzy from repeatedly rubbing against a stack of bright yellow hand towels. Hurry, she says, but this time it's said with a trace of genuine fear as she works to scrub the grease paint stains from her chin with a wad of damp toilet paper. It's the husband. He's agitated, demanding a response from his wife. Marcia, are you okay? Marcia, answer me. She looks more like a Samantha, I think. Then pocket the thought for later as I climb inside the oversized tub and clear the windowsill of bath products. I shove the frame open and use the soap dish as a stepping tool. Bottles of floral fragrance, shampoo, and shower gel falling to the floor as I heft myself onto the lip, shower curtain wrapped around my scissoring legs. Shit, I say, because the thick loop of wire that keeps my pants extended has caught on the edge of the frame. The lock on the door has proven ineffective in the face of the husband's outrage. There's a loud crack as the cheap fiberboard breaks. One more solid push and my pants finally tear. Someone grabs my leg and yanks off one of my oversized shoes as I slither through the opening. I fall forward into the blazingly hot Florida afternoon, landing face first in a thatch of bougainvillea. My blazer snags on the oversized thorns as I roll free, knocking into a pair of black garbage bins. It's always the jokes that go off the rails that work best, I think, as my own shoe flies from the open window and whacks me hard in the neck. The beauty of it stuns me for a moment, and I stand in the sunshine and watch the shoe roll down the hill and land in a nearby flower bed. You fucking clown! The husband yells it again in case I missed it the first time. You goddamn fucking clown! He chucks the shampoo bottle at my head. I duck and it smacks into the side of the garbage bin, Pantene spurting from the broken lid. I take off down the street at a gallop, abandoning my clown kit in the middle of the couple's living room. It's full of stuff I need for work that I'll never see again. And as I'm running for my life, I realize that the man isn't wrong. The punchline's sitting right there. I'm a literal fucking clown. Thank you very much.
Dead things, and your writing is so visceral and beautiful. Thank you for sharing it with us. Can't wait for the new book to come out. Really can't wait.
My wife was worried about my song being too dirty, but I'm not too worried about it. Well, we want to first off, we want to thank our authors, Chris Arnett, Sam Rush, Laura Davenport, for reading for us tonight. Who else are you thinking? The book lady for selling books out there. Make sure you buy lots of books. Also, make sure you eat the rest of the cheese and the food that's out there if you get a chance. I know the cheese is probably kind of sweaty by now, but I'm going to be eating it. So join me.
Tip your bartender, hug a friend, tell someone you love them today. Hydrate, be well.
And I should mention, like, if anyone wants to meet up, like, we decided this time that there should be a post-show meetup place because Front Porch wants to get us out here. So can we all agree on Lone Wolf? We're all going to meet at Lone Wolf. Anyone wants to meet there for drinks? Raise your hand. Does that sound good? Or not. That'll be the place to look. Okay.
Yeah, all our info's up here. We'll do another show late in the fall. Get in touch with us. We love you. Thank you for coming out. Happy Spring Fever. Enjoy the pollen.
friends, we have a lost credit card in the booth. If your name is Robin Grimes, come grab it, or else I'm gonna go on an Amazon spree.